As human beings, there will always be a racist person. There will always be a bigoted person. There will always be a homophobic person. But not in the mass that the left portray us to be. Yes, we're always going to have that as humanity. But in a nutshell, like you just said, these people in America, this guy is working in a coal mine.
You can say it. You can say
coal mine for 16 hours, and he does not hate that you're binary, gender, gay, whatever you sleep with sheep. He doesn't give a It's not affecting his life. What's affecting his life is when you're jamming it in his throat, and when the government is making regulations because you need to be special and understand this person. No, this guy doesn't care. Just like I don't care. I just want to live my life, Scott, and work and feed my kids.
Scott, I'm really happy to see after all these years you've toned it down a bit.
Yeah, just let it die. Hey, welcome back. It's going to be Table Talk Tuesdays all the time now because we've got so much great commentary from regular American folks.
It's not, though. There's no food.
You know, we're going to get the food going again.
I remember going to those shits.
You know, yesterday
everybody else would eat.
Yesterday I'm making signs, literally with a magic marker. Michael's online buying oak tag paper to make signs. Today you're talking to me about food. Like, what do I have to do?
Well, I think Table Talk Tuesday.
We should have some food.
It would be nice.
Yeah, okay, take a look at that. Isn't that a nice sign?
That is nice, actually.
Max Rose, look at my gut.
Pelosi.
Then you want to know why? I'm trying to cut back on the food.
Michael Levy and I are trying to take off our Aruba weight as well. So
yeah,
I can relate. So that's a nice sign, though.
Well, yeah, it's not bad. And Max Rose is Pelosi's puppet.
Well, he's certainly acting like it, but it's a very, very interesting situation.
I think he's a bum. I actually respect his service to our country. I do, but he lied, and it's that simple. I mean, when you gain the public's trust by telling them you're going to be one thing and you turn out to be another thing, you deserve to be whipped out of office, and I think that's about to happen.
Well, it's going to be interesting. You know, we saw this in all these wave elections. In 1980, President Reagan won. In 82, the Democrats ran up the score in the House. And then what happened 2 years later?
Max,
the Republicans came back.
Let's have it.
And the same thing in 2008. Obama wins the presidency. The Republicans take back the House in 2010. And then, lo and behold, come 2012, the button shifts back. Or the other way around.
Okay. Yeah. Well, look, we've covered a lot today. You know, we got all the dumbassapparel.com we could handle, and we're going to come up with some great creative things there. We had Lieutenant Colonel Dan Davis talking about why the president is right to get our troops out of Syria, bring them home, let them be with their families, get them out of harm's way when there's really no damage to be done there, Frank. But
yeah. I think
what else is happening?
There's a new book out. You know, speaking of, my biggest problem with the Trump administration from the beginning is there are no Trump people in it, okay?
Right.
And honestly, I'm serious. And he's been acting far too much, until recently, like a conventional politician. He's been acting a little, not temperamentally, but policy-wise, like Jeb Bush. And that's the last thing I want. And so now we're seeing a little bit of a purge. You got rid of John Bolton, you got rid of some of these other guys, and I think you're starting to see more Trump folks emerge. But let me just tell you before we get to Jim Beach about this new book that's come out by James Stewart. It's called Deep State, Trump, the FBI, and the Rule of Law. And in this book, now I don't know about James Stewart, he could be a crackpot for all I know, but in this book he claims that two cabinet officials were on board with Rosenstein's desire to invoke the 25th Amendment to have Trump removed from office. Now think of that. In Trump's own cabinet, there were or are folks that wanted to invoke the 25th Amendment to have him removed from office. Now, that is a coup d'etat.
That sure is. Politics. It's not good. And
it's not democracy. It's a coup.
Yeah, we had some video of Trump
he was talking about Syria yesterday. I think he made a very good case that why Colonel Davis is right and why Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio and Liz Cheney are wrong.
Wrong.
I consulted with everybody. I always consult with everybody. If you remember, about 8 months ago, I talked about doing this, and we kept 2,000 people there and then slowly brought them out. But once we captured ISIS, I don't want to stay there for the next 40 years. Not going to do anything. The end game is going to be the same.
Hey, welcome back. Well, I guess we did enough Syria for today. Yeah. You know, I don't love going.
We don't want to be a serial Syria show.
We don't want to be a serial Syria show, right? I like that. That was pretty good. Serial entrepreneur Jim Beach joins us now to change it up a little bit. Let's get into the business world. And Jim Beach is a serial entrepreneur. He's also host of a popular radio show, School for Startups
he wrote
Radio.
The book, School for Startups.
And sometimes you say he wrote the book. It's like a slang thing. He actually wrote the book. Jim, thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So we have a lot of people that come on the show and say they're the final word. And, you know, we have, what was his name? The guy who wrote Built to Suck. About you know how most companies are built from the beginning to not be good. We have a lot of people purporting to be serial entrepreneurs. I know you're a keynote speaker. You're an award-winning radio host. What is it that people will learn in your new book about being an entrepreneur?
Well, I have a philosophy that I like to share with all of my students. And I can tell you some of the stories of some of the startup cereal businesses that I've done. I've actually done a cereal business, as in food. But anyway, I have three philosophies. One, let's reduce risk, not spend more than $5,000. Now, people will argue that's not enough to start a business, but I can show you something in almost any industry that has done that. Secondly, I don't really care about creativity. I'm going to copy, borrow, or steal someone else's idea, just do it better. I'm not going to steal their trademark or their copyright or their patents, but I'm going to steal their idea and do it better. I've done that before and made a lot of money. And also, I don't really like passion. I'm passionate about my family, my church, my religion. I'm not passionate about the stuff I sell. I'm willing to sell anything if that allows me to have some more entrepreneurial freedom. The freedom to watch NEWSMAX TV all day if I want and work all night if I want. So my philosophy is a little bit different.
Jim, I like this Jim Beach.
He is. Yeah, he's gone
Life's
all over
beach.
the world.
Let me tell you.
All over the world to teach startup owners how to do this. Now, Jim, what is the biggest mistake if someone's thinking of starting a startup business? What is the biggest mistake that startup business owners make?
Well, I think there's two buckets. There's the financial mistakes. I see people who have a T-shirt with their logo on it, but they don't have any revenue yet. That drives me absolutely crazy, the financial overspending. But then also in a marketing bucket, people simply don't know enough about their customer. They don't talk to their customer, or they hire a salesperson to go out and do the sales for them. As an entrepreneur, I want to talk to my customers as often as possible and get their feedback. And that's what's going to help me perfect my message, perfect the product, and go out there and make the customer as happy as possible.
You also wrote a booklet, co-authored a booklet titled Free Marketing Using Radio and Podcasts in 30 Minutes. Now, John Tobacco here is always trying to get booked on radio shows and podcasts to promote this show. Give him some tips.
Yeah,
what should he be doing?
I can't get anything.
What should he be doing?
And I've invested significantly more than $5,000 into starting this business.
What should he be doing to get some promotional interviews?
I'm not going to be your model for the 5,000 club. I can tell you that.
Well, let's get together and we'll try to get those numbers down and get your radio and podcast numbers up. I can't imagine you've worked very hard. I'm going to be honest with you. I can get you on 500 radio shows in the next year. It's all about developing a list, and that's a $30 thing you outsource to the Philippines, and then making a great pitch. And John, you've got a great pitch. You know, the whole, everything you're doing, the table talk, just the idea that you're out there fighting for entrepreneurs, you're doing a little politics, a little entrepreneurship. We could create a pitch that would get you on a bunch of shows. It's not maybe about you. It might be more about the listeners or something like that.
Well,
I had a pitch one time that didn't mention the business that I was doing. Instead, it talked about how satisfied one of my customers was. And that's a much better pitch because it's not about me. It's about my customers being happy. And so we might trick it up a little bit and get you on. I can guarantee you I can get you on a bunch of shows. It's not that hard.
Our audience, to me, our viewers are our customers. We want to make them happy. To me, the customer is always right. And I can tell you this, next time we want to have you in studio, but I would be a little more careful suggesting I'm not working hard if you're in studio. Because
working hard, let's just try to work a little smarter, perhaps.
yeah, okay, that I'm not.
I
I'm
can
not
get
that
you on
smart.
500 shows, though. I promise that. It's easy to get someone of your stature, a radio, TV star. We can get you on a whole bunch of stuff. I promise.
All right. Well, I want to thank Jim Beach for giving all our entrepreneurs in our audience some tips, some stuff you need to know, and we'll have Jim on from time to time to see if he can make Liquid Lunch great again. Because you know what our goal is here every single day is to make television great again. We'll take a quick break. Back at you right after this.